I rise to speak about students who spend years preparing for one examination only to discover that the question paper has been leaked. I rise to speak about young people who score extraordinary marks but are denied opportunity because they cannot afford coaching. And most painfully, sir, I rise to speak about those young people who have reached such a state of despair that they have been taken their own lives. This is not simply not an educational crisis. This is a crisis of hopes. Crisis of hopes. And when a government destroys the hope of its youth, it is not merely failing its education system, it is failing the future of the country. Let me begin with the word of a young woman. She wrote, "You gave me so much love, but I could not fulfill even one of your wishes. Mom, you supported me like a friend in every difficulty. Dada, you also supported me a lot. You loved me even more than mom and dad. You are not responsible for my suicide." And then she wrote, "Even when I was studying for NEET, you sacrificed everything for me, and I failed, unable to fulfill your wishes." These are the final words of Ankita Sankle, a resident of Jalalpur village in Maharashtra, who died suicide on Saturday, sir. This Saturday. Think about these words, sir. The daughter who believed that she had failed her mother. Ankita's story is not an isolated story. We have seen this tragedy before also. We'll still remember smiling face of S. Anita from Ariyallur in Tamil Nadu. In 2017, Anita scored 1,176 out of 200 marks in her class 12 state board examination. She was a brilliant student. She had worked hard, she had talent, but she could not join the MBBS course because her poor score in NEET. Her story should have been enough to make us stop and think, but we did not. And a year later, we are still asking, how many more Anitas, how many more Ankitas you need? Sir, this is the question put forward by the nation. This is the question put forward by the students of this country. Honorable Speaker, sir, according to the latest accidental death and suicide in India, ADSI report of the National Crime Records Bureau, student suicide increased approximately 80% from 8,068 in 2014. 2014 it was 8,068. Now in 2026, 14,488 per year. ADSI report captured failure in examination. Failure in examination as a distinct category of reason for suicide nowadays. This is the reward given by the Modi government, sir. This is the reward given by the Modi government. Suicide happened in this country. Now one special category has been made, failure in the examination. Sir, when all together taken together, 21% of the student suicide is only due to the failure in examination in this country. It is not a worrisome point. This is not a static, sir. This is an emergency. The Ministry of Education itself has recognized the 5 psychological crises facing our students. Sir, Manodarpan Helpline, this is created by the Education Ministry only, launched in July 2020 to provide psychological support to students, and received more than 3.32 lakh calls from different regions as of March 2026. 3.32 lakhs students are asking for psychological support. You see the situation in this country? Now, in May 2026, NEET UG paper leaked. Actually, how is that? You are now talking about big thing about the new legislation. This also, you people want to give credit to Narendra Modi ji for bringing this legislation. Arey, big thing. How many students shedded their blood for this legislation? You bro. How many lathi charge you are being? How many acquisitions you are done? Mr. Narendra Modi ji, Prime Minister, you are Home Minister and Prime Ministers not ready to sit here because of they have guilty conscience in their minds. They cannot face these talks. Jitendra Singh, you are sitting there. But your Prime Minister is not here. You are talking about this is one of the important bills you are bringing. But your Prime Minister is not ready to hear what is happening in this country. What is the MPs are telling? Your Home Minister, who done under the Home Ministry only all these atrocities happened. He is the person who ruled the Delhi states. Delhi is the union territory controlled by Home Ministry directly. He is not here. Yesterday he was not here. Last week also he was not here. These people are telling they are brave enough 56 inches. Just 56 inches. 5 inches is not there, sir. 5 inches, not only 56.
Double engines. Double engines.
Sir, that actually 22.8 students were competing in that case. NEET UG paper. Paper was leaked. The leak was later traced to the paper setting stage itself. Paper setting stage itself. This leak happened. Then CBI inquired. Sir, CBI, ED, income tax, all these agencies were powerful once upon a time. You completely misused all these agencies. This agency is only designed for now setting with opposition leaders and setting with your political enemies. Because they didn't have any system to control all this type of malpractices and everything. That is what happened. 24, you brought the legislation. After 2 years, you are bringing again a legislation. We are ready to pass legislation, but I still believe that if you didn't have any sincerity to address the concern of the students of this country, concern of addressing the examination failures, this legislation is not going to serve any purpose.
Yes.
You are not the persons Those are implementing the legislation, sir. We brought right to information. What was happened to RTI now? What happened to RTI now? What happened to RTI? Right to education. We only brought that. You killed all the legislations. You never implemented that. Now right to information is become a memory. Now it is going to happen. Right to employment also. Mandega also going to be a memory. Yes. Therefore, legislation, if you didn't have any sincerity to implement the legislation, there is no purpose to doing this legislation. We are very sure that you cannot do these things because this is not an issue of legislation. This is an issue of system failure. Why system is failure? Already Priyanka ji told that day, this day, correctly. What? You have cut the education budget in a bigger way, 50% cut in the national. You abolished 1 lakh public schools in this country, 1 lakh public schools. That's government school. Then you given more than 46,000 private schools. More than 50% of the 46,000 private schools. Who is running, sir? Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh and their associates. For giving responsibility, for giving major portion to the RSS, you are weakening the public education system. Where this poor student will go? Who can afford this coaching system? Whether an SC boy, ST boy, OBC boy can afford this. You are talking about a big thing. But the situation in this country, poor people, those who are coming from labor background, those who are coming from farming background, those who are in a poor economic situation, cannot afford this coaching system at all. You don't want to encourage public education system. You want to weaken education system. Completely RSS is hijacking. Vice Chancellor appointed by, then now new education, higher education bill they are planning. What is that? You know better than Andhra Pradesh government also know about that new education, higher education bill, which is completely hijacking state government's educational capacity and educational input. My point is very clear, sir. The declaration of this candidates in NEET system, you need to thoroughly examine what is the exact things. OMR sheet uploaded against the roll numbers did not belong to them. The 1 point reflected fewer attempted questions than they had actually marked or had been interchanged. And once again, who pay the price? Student only. Following the cancellation of the NEET exception, at least 21 students across India died by suicide. And what did the government do? Did it listen? Did it accept responsibility? Did it reassure the students? Did it rebuild confidence? Instead, students and their parents were left with anger, anxiety, and hopelessness. Honorable Chairman, sir, the government cannot continue to tell that this is all only isolated things. The credibility of Indian examination system has deteriorated because paper leaks are no longer, as already told, 152 paper leaks. 152 paper leaks. Tejas Surya is telling that, I don't know how he can tell that. Last 12 years, they are in power. Now he is telling that we only, Modi government only brought this legislation. You people, we were not in power for the last 12 years. And how can we brought the legislation? Bring a legislation? Sir, this law, strengthening the, basically what is this law? Penal provision is from 3 to 5 years. Imprisonment is become 3 years to 5 years. Fine become 10 lakhs. This is actually simple crux of this legislation. Okay. Something is better than nothing. Okay, we are welcoming that. But where is accountability? Where is accountability? Now, the governor told tomorrow morning, you suspended 46.
Congratulations.
No, staff. NBA. When? After everything happened. After everything happened, students have been got enough from police. After that, you have done. Sir, already Priyanka ji told that. I don't want to repeat that again. The total amount of budgeting is equal to the total amount of students spending for the coaching centers nowadays. What a terrible situation. What a terrible situation in our country. Sir, we need to have a very much control on Indian coaching system also. I thought about that because about Tamil Nadu, people are talking about these things for so long. What is the necessity of the need? We need to think about that. Whether it's positively or negatively, we need to have a clear-cut relook on that. Which centralization is good or decentralization is good? Yes. We need to think about that. It is a high time to think about that. Sir, the second fundamental issue is getting India's public examination system. The CBSE also same thing happened. There big corruption happened. It was identified by none other than 2 students. CBSE scam was identified by 2 students. We have to salute them. Our Gen Z generation is completely dynamic and wise and informative. The system has undergone 3 dangerous situations. One is centralization, second is privatization, third is politicalization. These 3 things we are facing through this education system. Universities and state conduct examination according to their own educational requirement and unique context. This was the system in our state, our country. But now, entire thing is centralized. The centralized examination replaced and conducted by the National Testing Agency. Examinations such as Common University and the CUET as also part of the central application. But NTA itself is a chronically understaffed organization that relies heavily on private contractors to conduct examinations. And questions have been raised about the quality and independence of those involved in paper setting, translation, and examination management. The result has been catastrophic. Paper leaks, retested, cancelled examinations, delayed results, students losing years of their lives, and in the worst cases, students losing their lives themselves. Sir, this is very, very dangerous. I spoke about it, CBSE crisis. Coemt Educational Tech Private Limited. This is the company which created complete mischief on the CBSE examination. No action. Whenever students raise the alarm, the government is not ready to correct it. Now they are telling they are correcting. They completely lost the time to correct it. Completely they did nothing. But now they are telling about we are doing everything. This is completely bogus. There is another statistic that should concern every member of this House. Analysis of UDISI and AISHE data suggests that out of every 100 students who enroll in grade 1, only around 23 complete grade 12 and only around 18 enter higher education. See, why? Before the paper leaks, the education pipeline itself leaks. Now we are talking about the paper leak. Education pipeline itself leaking because students are not getting completely, students are dropping out. Students are being pushed into expensive coaching systems, seats are limited, examinations are compromised, and after all this, even a degree does not guarantee employment. The State of Working India report shows that among graduates and above, only 48% had on any employment. So only 6.7% of graduates had permanent salary employment. So the young person faces obstacles at every stage. She may not complete school. If she does, she may not enter higher education. If she enters higher education, she may face an expensive coaching system. If she clears the examination, she may still face unemployment. And if the examination itself is leaked or cancelled, she may lose another year of her life. And when young people protest against this, what does the government do? Does it listen? Does it engage? Does it apologize? Does it send? Or only one thing, they will send the police. They will send the police. Is this the answer? Is this the answer, sir? There have been disturbing videos concerning the treatment of student protesters in Delhi. There are, including baton charges, assault on women, pellet injuries, and attacks by unidentified individuals. In the name of police, so many people were there. The violence included persons in uniform and civilian clothes being forced against protesters involving women protesters and people carrying sticks. These allegations demand an independent and transparent investigation. Home Minister should come to the House and he should announce an inquiry. Nothing less than is not sufficient, sir. Yes. The country needed that. Home Minister should come to the House and he should announce an inquiry, impartial inquiry, to investigate what has happened against the students. We need that very much. Anyone responsible, whether unauthorized police personnel or vigilant who inflicted the protest, must be identified and held accountable. Because peaceful students are not enemies of the state, sir. They are citizens of this India, and the government must answer for the treatment of its own young citizens. We ourselves have to undergo this brutality by the police. I think, who told that? Shiv Sena member told about it. When LOP went to Prime Minister's house, Jitendra Singh came there to meet us. The way in which the police handled the leader of opposition, the country. Shame. Entire world witnessed that. Entire world witnessed that.
Yes.
We didn't have any botheration for that. LOP told very clearly that I'm not bothered about police beating me, but I am bothered about police beating students. That is what LOP told. We are all like that. Sir, so many students approached him after that, and they narrated the agony, pain which they are completely faced by the atrocities of the police. The government must understand. You cannot solve a crisis of trust with lathi, sir. You cannot solve unemployment with police barricades. You cannot solve paper leak with the repressions. You cannot silence the aspiration of entire generation by force. This is the lesson which India taught you during this agitation. Yes. From the very first day of NEET paper leak. Very good. Now, so many people are telling why Rahul Gandhi is speaking in this house 2 years before, this whole house sitting by here. Yes. In 24, Rahul Gandhi asked the Prime Minister of India at least have a discussion about the NEET examination. There are so many complaints are coming. Like that the Prime Minister listened to Rahul Gandhi. He gave a very concrete proposal. We are ready to give positive proposal. 2024 में Rahul Gandhi. LOP told the Prime Minister. We Congress party and other opposition party, and Rahul Gandhi himself is completely raising this issue last 3 years. Nobody is ready to listen because you are in an ego, different ego. You are not going to listen to any opposition voice. Yes. You want to suppress the opposition voice. This is the clear lesson. This is the clear lesson, you people, brothers. In democracy, you need to listen to everybody's voice. Yeah. That is what we wanted, but you are not ready to listen. LOP, you are not ready to listen to opposition leaders. You are not even allowing for half a minute to speak them. If you at least heard that voice, if you at least heard the alarm which given by LOP and other opposition parties, you could have been saved from this situation. Unfortunately, your ego is not allowing this. The demands of India youth have been raised in every platform, sir. From the streets, from parliament, from university, from examination center, from the families of students, and we will continue to raise them. Because this fight is not about one examination. Now, this fight is to repair Indian education system. Now, the education minister has resigned. Dharmendra Pradhan ji is only a symbol of abysmal education system, unemployment, corruption in the education department, police brutality, and government insensitivity. Sir, there is no doubt that India Gen Z youth, with their courage and bravery, have challenged the arrogance of a powerful government. First they were ridiculed, then they were silenced. But the youth did not forget. They continue to question. They continue to protest.
Sir, please conclude.
Because even against 1,000 sticks of oppression, a single voice of courage is enough. And the young generation of this country has proved it. Sir, Rahul Gandhi told you last day, Narendra Modi is the past. The fight is for the future, sir.
Yes.
Our Prime Minister was the past. Therefore, sir, I am concluding with my remarks, sir. This legislation we are bringing, are we going to continue with a system where coaching becomes a necessity? Are we going to continue with a system where public school disappear and private education expands? Are we going to continue with a system where the NTA is repeatedly questioned? Are we going to continue with a system where students have to fight in court simply to get justice? Are we going to continue with a system where students protest and face police violence? Are we going to continue with a system where a degree does not guarantee a job? Sir, are we going to build a new system? A system where education is affordable? A system where public schools are strong? A system where public universities are accessible? A system where examinations are transparent? A system where paper leaks are impossible? Honorable Chairperson, Congress party stand for India youth. Opposition parties stand for India youth. We stand with students who studied for years. We stand with the girl whose father is a daily wage laborer.
Yes.
We stand with the family that spent its savings on coaching. We stand with the student who traveled hundreds of kilometers to sit for an examination. We stand with the young person who has been unemployed despite having a degree. We stand with the student whose examination was cancelled. We stand with the student whose paper was leaked. We stand with this demanding justice. And we stand with the parents who have lost their children, because education is not a privilege, education is a right. Thank you, sir.